Conor, Dublin losing to Laois, did you see that one coming?
No, I don't think anybody did. They were very passive there at the start. They still kind of thought that kind of a mixture of Dublin finding the range and maybe Laois running out of gas was going to contrive to get Dublin over the line just about. But like it was clear very early on that they weren't at the level that they were 3 weeks ago. So no, it's a major shock.
Like, how do you go from beating Galway to losing to Laois? Because Laois was supposed to win the Joe McDonagh final, be on the beer for a few days, and that was their cup final. Whereas it's almost like Dublin's cup final was Galway, and they never showed up today.
Yeah, I mean, like we were just spoke to Matty down there, and he made the point that there was an awful lot of talk about Dublin and Tipperary this week or last week, and there probably was, to be fair, but that's just because I think Dublin were so strong against Galway. You just didn't think that the team could come from the Joe McDonagh to beat them. Now, like, hindsight's a great thing, and when Dublin last won Leinster, they played 5 weeks in a row, and maybe that was just the thing that Laois needed,
not the momentum.
Momentum, and you could see the way they hurled it there. Like, once they got ahead, particularly when the goal went in, I think probably the 4 or 5 best individual performances on the day were Laois players. I thought Ryan Mullany was outstanding. I thought Willie Dunphy was outstanding. I thought Kavanagh was outstanding, and Rowland made 2 great saves and 2 brilliant long range frees as well. So Dublin had 17 wides, I think, so they only had to be slightly better to win the game, and they were still well below their own level. So we can put all those things together and you get a result like this.
It's mad that the idea that the talk of the Tipperary match, and that they were definitely going to come here and win, would seep in, because he's had to deal with that before with Coola. And I know from being in the dressing room, the second year that we were going for the All-Ireland, everyone was talking from months out about a Coola in the Pierce League All-Ireland, and he had to try and find a way to beat into us like that's not going to necessarily be the way it pans out, and he found a way to have the team completely focused for every game. So what I'm struggling to understand is how you can be that flat. Is it because Owen O'Donnell was out? Mark Shuta hasn't been available all year, Cian O'Callaghan hasn't been available, even Liam Rush as well. Is it more down to that, or is it a psychologically? Is it just they were lacking quality?
I don't think as a team that they lack quality. Like, I think they have one of the best defences around. I think they have a good system. They're probably 1 or 2 forwards short of winning an All-Ireland, but I think they should have had enough quality to beat Laois here today. If it did seep into their thinking, well then, I mean, that's just a strange thing to happen for a group of players. That's a thing that management and leaders should be all over, really. They've had 3 weeks to prepare for this game. They didn't have 4 weeks to prepare for Tipperary. They had 3 weeks to prepare, because they would have only known that it was Tipperary in the quarter-final had they won today after last week's Munster final. So even prior to this, there was only 2 weeks. There was 2 weeks to prepare for this. So if there was a bit of complacency there, it's hard to diagnose these things immediately afterwards. I'm sure they're hooking on blocking. The statistics were really low.
Yeah.
They just were.
Laois were able to stand up and get scores at times. They used the ball so well.
I think Laois had a day of days too as well. I don't think we should discount that as well. Some of the scores that they put over the bar for long range were kind of immaculately struck, and once you start doing that, players start to find a range. And then there's Dublin players who are outstanding against Galway who just missed a lot of chances, And
wasn't there an awful lot of selfish shooting, on the back foot at the sideline, trying to throw balls over the bar, crazy shooting?
Well, there was so much of that kind of shooting. I just wonder whether it was part of the plan. They knew that Laois were going to play a sweeper, and I thought John Lennon played that role really well there today. He got in front of Ronan Hayes, even though Ronan Hayes won a bit of ball at the very start of the game. I think Dublin would have known that they would get or puck out, because Laois were playing with a sweeper, and then I think they probably felt that to be able to work it up far enough that their long range shooters would be in range, and they kind of maybe build up a bit of a tally. But they never really threatened for goal, Dublin, which is odd. Cian Boland, the name and Dylan looked like they'd probably get through for at least one decent chance. Dylan had a good chance saved by Rowland in the first half, but Dublin got a free off as well. So they didn't threaten goals. They were errant in their shooting, and their intensity was down. If you throw all these things together against a good team like Laois away from home, you're going to get punished, because Laois have some very good forwards. We didn't mention Chad Dwyer or Aaron Dunphy there today. Laois have 4 or 5 fellas who can punish it.
Paddy Purcell as well, great runner.
Yeah. He got on a lot of ball around the middle. But even at that, I don't think Laois made a whole lot of balls stick up front, which is kind of funny.
Especially in the second half.
Yeah, considering they scored whatever was 122 in the end. Any long ball that they sent in, Dublin were generally mopping up. So, you know, again, I think they probably won the middle battle, which we would have seen as a strength of Dublin's, you know, that ability to make the middle eight a bit of a war and to win enough kind of ruck ball to be able to feed the guys who get the score. So it was, I suppose, from a Dublin point of view, it just looked like one of those days when things started going wrong and it escalated very quickly. And then you had Laois, who had the opposite sensation, and that was all fueled by the crowd and everything else. So it was kind of it was the perfect storm, I think, for the shock that unfolded.
Yeah, Matty won't like me pointing this out now, but I thought Cian Boland was pretty much the only forward who was presenting a threat in the second half. I think he 2 points scored from play in the second half, more or less no one else did when he was taken off. Then there was 4 subs that they were all injury doubts coming into it. So you had Owen O'Donnell, Cian O'Callaghan, David Tracy, and there's one other that might be he. Yeah, Paul Ryan did come on, but there was no. So it was 3, and they all took places on the bench, and none of them came in even when the need was most. So I just thought those were odd decisions, and it's easy to be wise after the event. But even taking off Cian Boland.
Yeah, but like I think if one of the defenders was in trouble, he might have brought on Cian O'Callaghan or Owen O'Donnell. Yeah, they probably do struggle for options up front. I think next year, you know, obviously they look to get Mark Shuthey fit. Might look to see if they get Colm Cronin back, Donald Burke, see when maybe the Currys come up. So that is an area that they need. And
get Rush fit again.
Yeah,
his ankle.
They need new blood as well. But like it's a terrible missed opportunity because it's very reminiscent, I think, of 2010 Dalo second year when they beat Clare in Croke Park and then went out to Antrim. And it's kind of the only thing that people will remember from this year, which is very unfortunate because they did all their hard work beating Galway that night in Parnell Park.
And they were nearly, like, they were good performances most of the way. Flopped in the second half against Kilkenny, but you know, away to Kilkenny that can be tough, and we saw here the advantage of the home crowd. Should have beaten Wexford before actually sneaking a draw at the end, beat Carlow obviously well enough, and beat Galway. So it's actually a good season's work, and to be honest, it ends as a bit like a lot of other counties would almost be laughing at Dublin for losing to Laois, even if that sounds disrespectful. That's just the way it is.
Well, I mean, it's a terrible way for it to end because, I mean, had they won today, there's no outcome next week that would make the season feel worse than it would feel now for them. You know, I mean, even if things went drastically wrong against Tipperary, which I don't think it would have, to be fair, because I think the game that Dublin play is actually quite similar in some ways to Limerick's. Obviously not at the same kind of quality, but stylistically I think they're probably a little bit similar. Very good man markers, again, crowd the middle eight and make it a bit of a war. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge missed opportunity, it really is.